all of the statements that I made in the film were true, and you said that they were patently false, and you were wrong.
I didn't.
Joe, come on. Listen, I've come in here.
I've said it already. Yeah.
No, so I just want to make sure.
You're correct.
Right, because I've come in here, and people are saying, oh, what are you going to say to that debunk? Chris did not debunk the film.
Hey, what is up, guys? So if you haven't heard, Joe Rogan has actually deleted the original James Wilks and Chris Kresser debate from his channel. Now, to be honest, it's probably just because of the new Spotify deal he's having. If you look deeper, you'll see he actually has deleted some of the carnivore content as well, which is probably a good thing, so less people have access to that. But yeah, because that video is no longer on his channel, I just decided to repost one of my compilations of that specific debate, where you really see just how it went down. Although this video was uploaded on my channel in the past, judging from the actual analytics of it, not many people who are subscribed to me have actually seen it. And the reason for that is, number one, because this video was uploaded well over a year ago, before most of you guys have found me. And number two, it's actually like the second result when you look up James Wilks, Chris Kresser, Joe Rogan debate. So it's coming up a lot in search. But anyway, let's get on with the roast compilation. Enjoy.
I know all of your critiques because I've noted them, and I've got a point for each one. But since you brought up cattle, you said that cattle, there's no evidence of cattle being fed B12. So if you bring up Flight 46.
Vitamin B12 for sheep and cattle, that's what it says.
Young ruminants require supplemental vitamin B12 prior to full rumen development. They also say vitamin B12 is sometimes administered parenterally to incoming feedlot cattle. You said there was no evidence that cattle are given B12, and you said that all my statements were absolutely false. Do you at least admit that you were wrong there? Okay, first of all, when I made the full statement, this is what you first said. That's just all false. That's all just factually wrong. And then later on you said, there's also zero evidence that B12 is fed to cattle. That is flat out wrong, and I have just shown that. Is that fair?
I was wrong about
that. So we'll get to another point because you were wrong about many other things as well.
Do you dispute that the primary source of B12 for human beings has been eating animals and also fish and shellfish?
In history? And from rivers and streams and dirt? Both.
Both. Wait, where is the evidence that rivers and streams and dirt has been a primary source of B12?
I'm obviously going to give it to you.
Okay.
You think I came here today? You think I made claims in the film that I couldn't back up?
What you're essentially saying is that we're dealing with B12 that was in soil and then in water, and that by the chlorination and filtration systems that we use today, that's what's ruining the water, and the water does not have the B12 in it anymore.
We sanitize water now, which is a good thing.
Yes, but that also takes out the B12.
Sure. So
that makes your statement correct.
So he was wrong again. Can we admit the two things that you touched on so far, you got wrong?
Absolutely, that it's proven that cattle do receive B12.
But let's just admit that you made a mistake. Can you just admit that you made a mistake there?
Okay.
So your third point, I said this, you took issue with my claim. Okay. And up to 39% of people tested, including meat eaters, are low in B12. As a result, the best way for humans to get enough B12, whether they eat animal foods or not, is simply take a supplement. Then you said he didn't provide a reference for that, so it's hard to check. You said that I didn't provide a reference. Okay, but in the bottom left, where we put all of the references whenever I made a claim about the scientific research.
There
you go. Okay. So first of all, there's the reference. You claimed you didn't have a reference. Would you admit that you were wrong?
I missed that.
Okay, 3 times wrong about B12. Your ebook on B12, you basically said, I don't know where you got that study from. Your B12 ebook opens with the exact same study. So can you put up slide 51? Okay, is that your ebook on the left?
Yes.
That was the opening statement of your B12 ebook, and you claimed that where you couldn't find the evidence of that study.
No disagreement that B12 deficiency is an issue. I talked about that on my website.
Yeah, that's not what you said on the last time you were on Joe's podcast. You said, I don't know, he didn't provide a reference for that, so it's hard to check, but it contradicts the evidence. If that's not reflective of the preponderance of evidence, why did you open your ebook with it?
It's not. Okay. I'm not saying the study is bad.
But you said that there's no.
Let's look at all of the other.
You said that I didn't provide a reference, but do you write your own ebooks, by the way?
I do.
And you don't remember that study?
No. So what is the question here? If you're not arguing that B12 deficiency is more common in vegans and vegetarians,
I'm pointing out that
because that is what clinically makes the difference. If someone is B12 deficient,
I'll get to that.
Then they develop.
You think I'm not prepared to get to that? I will get to that. You said that the 4 or 5 claims that I made about B12 were patently false. I've already pointed out 3 of the things that you got wrong out of the 5. And you are the one that is recommending telling people what to eat. Not only have you got all the facts wrong so far about B12 of my claims, you said that they were all false, and they weren't false. Right? Every claim that I made so far was backed up by science. and you have admitted that you made mistakes. All of the statements that I made in the film were true, and you said that they were patently false, and you were wrong.
I didn't.
Joe, come on. I know, like, now, well,
listen,
I've come in here.
I've said it already. Yeah.
No, so I just want to make sure.
You're correct.
Right, because I've come in here, and people are saying, oh, what are you going to say to that debunk? Chris did not debunk the film. He made misrepresentations of our claims, and he got things factually wrong. Anyway, you got things factually wrong about B12. So to the people listening or watching, do you really want to put the interpretation of the data in the hands of someone that just got so many things wrong about B12? Like, the best way to get B12 is to take a supplement, period. And you're wrong if you think otherwise. You're not in line with the consensus of science, and that you don't have the ability to read the papers. It's a shame that you have someone that doesn't really have the capability to really understand the literature, coming on here and people buying into it, talking smack on the film where he made a bunch of factually wrong comments. Man, you really put me through a lot of hours of extra work. Now it's gone from like 3,000 to like 3,100, you know? Anyway, so there was just so much wrong with what you said that I just had to go into every single topic. But anyway, 1 cup of cooked lentils or a peanut butter sandwich has about as much protein as 3 ounces of beef or 3 large eggs. That was what I said.
Okay.
I might be off on a word, but that was what I said.
Okay.
I said about as much protein, okay? So you go on to say 3 ounces of 90% lean ground beef. Well, already what you did is you picked leaner beef. So what you did on your podcast, you admit that a tablespoon of peanut butter is 4 grams, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And what is 4 times 5?
20.
Right. And then per USDA, how much is 1 piece of whole wheat bread?
4 or 5, depending on the source you look at.
I agree. How many pieces of bread? 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 grams of protein in bread. The one that I actually have at home is 6 grams, but let's take USDA.
Okay.
So 5 plus 5 is, Chris?
10.
Plus 20 from the peanut butter is?
30.
Well, even on the leanest beef that you chose, it was 24 grams. So you take 5 tablespoons of peanut butter at 4 grams a piece, that's 20 grams, right? Which is around what beef is.
2 pieces of bread, 10
that's 30.
grams.
So why did 24 grams of your hand-picked lean beef, which you don't even necessarily, there's no reason that you should be picking that when that's not what we showed in the film. Why are you comparing 24 grams to 30 grams? Why didn't you say 4 tablespoons of peanut butter? Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Got it wrong again. Okay, so this is what, it's frustrating when I watch the show because like every 5 minutes I'm hearing something that's just factually incorrect. Now, your second point was that the problem with, his second point was the problem with the peanut butter sandwich, to get 18 grams of protein, I think this is a fair point, you would have to eat 410 calories. Right, so can we get slide 20, sweet potato and leek omelette from Chris's site, where the protein is coming. So this is from your site, 18 grams of protein, 410 calories. So sweet potato and leek omelette, the protein coming from eggs, 18 grams of protein, 410 calories. Do you have an issue with your own meal?
No.
So do you have an issue with the peanut butter sandwich having 410 calories?
No.
18 grams of protein, 570 calories. If you want to go to your breakfast of champions, which I thought, for athletes, slide 22. And by the way, I took your data. I didn't take USDA. I assumed that you were not lying. So I took the totals from the bottom, but I standardized it for 18 grams of protein because we're just comparing everything percentage-wise. 688 calories. Do you think that people should not eat that meal? But first of all, it's low protein by most people's standards, but your standards of protein are much higher. So that would be far off. So that would mean to make up for the rest of the day, you would have to have meals that were almost just protein, or maybe they'd have to buy the protein powder from your website in order to make that up. How am I doing, by the way, defending the film?
Excellent.
First of all, B12 is an argument. Smash that. Protein is the next argument. I've just smashed the protein quantity argument, and now we'll get into the quality. Okay. Researching for this, I really enjoyed it because there were so many flaws, and I said, you left off part of my quote. I said, every plant has every amino acid. That's what you said, but you left off the end of my quote, which said every plant has every amino acid in varying proportions. That is what I said. And you left out the in varying proportions, which again, I think is disingenuous. He did not complete my quote. You handpicked part of my quote to represent your view. So, but how is it determined? Chris? Do you know how it's determined?
The DS?
Yeah.
I don't know the details.
So, I'm sorry. It's almost like comedy.
So what you're saying is that as long as you're getting this 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of protein, whether it's lentils or peanut butter or that you have enough amino acids to achieve the desired results.
Yeah.
And it's essentially the exact same as if you're hitting that 2.2 grams.
If you're getting 2.2 grams, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Chris, this has not been that good for your arguments.
But how? I mean, you've got to have some logical arguments, Chris. I'm sorry, but I have disproven your rebuttal on protein and on B12. Do you think I presented a good
But if it's about amino acids and it's about protein content and digestibility, if what he's saying is correct, then there really is no need to eat meat. That's what he's saying.
There isn't. But Chris, first of all, you have admitted that you don't even know how to read the science. Is that fair? Do you honestly feel qualified to read even a single paper?
Yes.
But you don't know how to read a forest plot?
I've taken research.
Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony. Who's your audience? Dude,
who's your audience?
Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dumb jokes. Dude, even vegans